Hello, everyone, and welcome to ATB Wealth Community Spotlight, where we dive into stories that make our community vibrant and shine a light on the people and organizations that are making a difference. So, big shout out to ATB Wealth for being a sponsor. We can't do these sort of things without them, so thank you. I'm Rob Cupello, and I'm joined today by Clancy. Clancy, thank you
Hi.
for joining me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
And Clancy made sure that I would say it's from Chance's Casino Kelowna.
Yeah,
CCK.
Casino Kelowna. Yeah.
So we want to make sure we get that right. So Clancy, we haven't met before.
It's nice to get to put a face to a name.
We've worked with Chances for a long time, and I'm curious, what is your role? So what's your role? What is day to day? Where do we find you in the casino?
So I'm the marketing manager currently at Chances. I was previously the casino manager though. So you can find me all over the place. I hide away these days a lot in the office in the back, but I'm out on the gaming floor conducting draws, doing promotions, that kind of thing.
Cool. So when did you start at Chances? How long have you been there?
2012.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey for sure. Started as a bingo runner back in the day, and then I've kind of made my way through a few different roles. So
interesting.
It's been a long time.
So it's actually probably interesting that you've worn so many different hats because you kind of understand how everything works in the four walls now, right?
I definitely speak casino more than I speak
to be at
clear.
Home too. You're like, that's too funny. So over the years, you've seen a lot of changes.
Yes.
I mean, I remember when Chances first launched, it was a bingo hall. And today it's, a casino full. And I think more of like, even though I know we say the word gaming, I use the word entertainment because that's where I feel like it really is. It's like it's entertainment. So you've probably seen so many changes in the time that you've been there.
Yeah, and it's like all kinds of entertainment, right? So when we had bingo, but we also had slots. We've got horse racing. We've got the restaurants. There's tons of different ways that you can enjoy the place, and it's changed countless times over the last decade that I've seen personally, at least.
I'm curious. I'm sure, like any industry, there's a lot of evolution, new technology, I don't know, AI and gaming, whatever it is. How do you stay up to date? Like, do you get like newsletters on what's happening in the industry? Do you go to conferences? Like, how do you stay up to date to make sure you got the latest and greatest?
We do, yeah. There's a couple different gaming conferences that happen throughout the world. We've got responsible gambling conferences locally in BC, but there's also Canadian gaming conferences or international conferences. And then BCLC, obviously, as our regulator, also like keeps us in the know. So they're usually the first ones to bring in some of that technology, and then we have access to it as a service provider.
Interesting.
Yeah.
From a business model, maybe a lot of people don't know, like Chances is independently owned. Like
we are,
Stan
Walt, he is our owner and operator.
Yeah, someone's here that owns, like it's not a chain, or people might think it's owned by BC Lotteries. There's, I would say, a partnership, if that's the right word.
It is a partnership, absolutely. Yes,
yeah, but there's like, it's here, it's local.
Yeah, it is. And Stan's been a local part of this community for a very long time. And it's nice to have, his office is right next to mine. If there's a problem, there's an owner operator right there on hand if anything goes wrong. And you're not operated by a larger conglomerate that kind of has that distance to the actual city that we operate in.
All right, how often is Stan in the building?
I mean, other than the odd time he goes on vacation daily,
still is changing light bulbs.
Changing light bulbs, standing on ladders. Yeah, you can see Stan all over the place. He's got a real hand on what's going on.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
So if someone's never been to Chances Casino, I'm curious, like, how would you explain it? Like, what would someone expect? Like, how much, like, all the fun they would have in there. Like, how would you explain it to someone?
I mean, it's not just your typical casino, but obviously that is the bread and butter of what we do. So to me, it is an entertainment destination.
Right.
Because you can go in, we have like one group of women that come in on a Tuesday morning and they sit in the cafe and they have coffee.
I love it.
And you can come in and experience whatever portfolio of the gaming you want to, but you can also be there for a sense of community and a sense of just enjoying the space and kind of relaxing in what is an adult-only environment, but not necessarily focus on alcohol or anything else, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so entertainment's a good way and fun. There's lots of stuff happening for sure. It's one thing you guys, I think I've seen over the years that it feels like it's always under renovation. There's always something new happening, but one of the big revamps is with the poker room.
Yes.
So I'd love for you to just chat about that, and if someone's a poker enthusiast or someone that's just starting out, like what can they expect, and what's the big reno that you guys went through?
Absolutely. So that was our biggest addition to the building since we've had bingo leave the portfolio.
Okay, yeah.
So having poker come in was a big demand by a lot of our table games players. It definitely like kind of finished what looks like a typical casino portfolio. So we took the upstairs room that had previously been used for some events and event hosting, and we turned it into a kind of a poker destination.
Very
so
cool.
We've got 5 tables up there. We use Poker Atlas as a means to facilitating the wait lists and the registration for tournaments and everything, which has really streamlined things. And currently we're open 5 days a week for poker, which is really exciting.
That's very cool.
Because it just started in September, so we're still very new into the poker process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So it just adds a different dynamic for sure. So what about someone, it's interesting because I was thinking about this as I was preparing for chatting with you. It's like, would someone go to chances if they're not into gaming? And it's funny because I'm not a big gambler.
Right.
I love when we go to Vancouver. I like going to River Rock.
Yes.
But I'm not a, I do, but I'm not really.
More of, I call them social gamblers.
Yeah. And do you find like, do you get people you mentioned, like the ladies that come on Tuesday, like, because you do have food and beverage, right?
Yes.
There's different areas for you to come and eat and just hang out if you just want to go for a night out. Like, so if you're not a gambler, you can still come experience and have fun there.
Oh, absolutely. Because realistically, like you mentioned, we have the full restaurant upstairs. We also have a cafe downstairs, but we also have TVs throughout the facility. And those TVs are always running different sporting events, different community events. We take requests if you want to have something particular on those TVs.
Yeah.
But you can just come in and hang out on one of our couches with, a cocktail or not in your hand with a couple of friends and just be socially engaged with the building.
Great place to, I'm a people watcher.
Yes, people watching in a casino is always quite an exciting process.
Well, there's always stuff going on. It's like ding, 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 or like, oh, someone won.
You hear the excitement, and you walk over to the other side of the building, see what's happening. It could be a small win, it could be a large win. There's a lot of different things to experience.
You mentioned TVs and you mentioned sports.
Yes.
So I think there's some news that you might want to share. And
there's some very exciting, the last little kind of renovation that we're still going under, but it's coming to an end soon, is our sports book. So we are opening one of the first, if not the first, sports book in the province with incorporating the Play Now platform of ProLine, which is currently digital, obviously. We're going to have ProLine in-house in our casino. Starting pretty quickly here, a little bit of a soft launch as we get things installed and things up and running. But in February, you will see a properly dedicated sports lounge, sportsbook facility in our casino.
So cool. Yeah. And we were talking before we went on air that there's going to be 2 locations in all of BC. One is Park, and
Park,
then
of course,
chances
on the
in Kelowna. Right? So that's pretty cool.
It's very exciting for
that you guys got, I don't know, picked or chosen or partnered with from BCLC.
Volunteered. Pick us, please.
That's
volunteered.
Very cool. So that adds another dynamic, like you said. If you just want to come and hang out and watch sports, or you can obviously bet, but you can also, and there's so much coming up. Like I'm a basketball March Madness. There's NHL playoffs. There's like I just start thinking
curling. We've got the Briar coming to town. Like there's so many different things that you can do with Sportsbook as a whole. But one of the few facilities where you can go and you can sit, you can watch the games. If you choose to, you can absolutely place a bet. There's no pressure to be betting at all on the games. But sometimes that can add an element of fun to watching.
For sure.
And then the nice part is with us being a sports betting facility is that you can also cash out your wins.
Right.
So right there and then, if you happen to get lucky and choose the right team or the right odds, then you can also have your winnings cashed out right then and there.
I think it's fun. Like even, like I said, I'm not a big gambler, but if you put 5, 10, whatever, like it just makes
even
it a little bit more.
Yeah,
because it's always like we do fantasy sports with like my kids and stuff, and it's always just fun. Like it's not like you joke with your friends if they lose. Like it's just
it's very important. Bet within your means, bet within your limits.
For sure. 100%.
But sometimes it can add that extra element of excitement between 2 people or a group of people that are watching a sports game.
And I think the one thing that I want to make sure that we get across is that, I think people think they hear this sports betting or they might hear poker and they might think there's a bunch of guys there to come in and bet. And it's so not that.
It's
when you
really
go to chances,
not.
like
it's really,
so
really not. And I think part of that is even just the community aspect of it. Like I said, I personally, I'm not a huge gambler, but I'm what I like to call a social gambler. I'll happily go into a casino with a group of my friends, hang out, have a couple drinks, maybe play the tables, maybe you don't, maybe you watch a game, maybe you don't. But it's definitely one of those things. There's lots of different people in that casino.
Very cool.
Yeah.
For people that we're talking about sports book, and there's still some things to work out and launch. Like, what's the best way for people to just stay up to date and know when it's actually going to be live and get involved? Like, just stay on your website?
For our website, for sure,
okay.
chanceskelowna.ca, but also our social media platforms.
Oh, good idea. Okay.
So we do a lot of teases through especially our Instagram channel, but our Facebook account as well. And we have one that's dedicated for the Long Shots Lounge, as well as one that's dedicated for Chances.
Cool.
So you can kind of get a little sneak peek, a little tease that way too.
Very cool. And I know that BC Lotteries, the team there is putting some effort into promoting that. Will be launching soon. So if you're listening, you'll start hearing about it fairly soon.
The buzz is out.
The buzz is out there. So one thing I did want to chat about, I know this is sort of near and dear to Stan, and it's something, like I said, we've been working with Chances for many years, is that community support. Yes. That's an area that's always, like, you guys are amazing at. You're always taking pictures, I always say, with the big checks.
Yes.
Like, you're always giving back.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how, like, what that means to you guys and how it's sort of a fabric of what you guys do at Chances?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's part of something that is our everyday kind of routine. It's something that is synonymous with any promotion or anything else that we're doing on in the building. So, I mean, if you had been at Okanagan Lake on January 1st, you would have seen us jump in the water for our polar bear dip with Chris Adaptive. I did. I didn't. Awesome. I said I had to lead by example, but if I was going to ask other people to do it, I had to do it.
That's
but
good for you.
That was a little local partnership. And if you had been there, you would have seen Stan standing on the beach with a cup of coffee in his hand watching us do it.
He didn't jump in.
He didn't jump in. But we're there to support. So we do. We love to do community outreach. Cool. We do different promotions that are even just like how we collect donations in the building. We did a big food bank drive over Christmas. We just, for us, that community outreach, whether it's at Parks Alive or whether it's at the beach jumping in the cold water, we're in the community all the time.
Well, and I think that speaks to the team. Like, I think people don't understand, like, the amount of work that goes into running a casino like Chances. And you see there's people that are, front facing, but there's a lot of people that you don't see in the background as well. So maybe can you speak a little bit about sort of the team? I don't use the word culture, but I'll use the word culture, the team culture, and how it takes a team in order to deliver what we're talking about today, like a new poker room and sports betting and, restaurant and right?
Absolutely. So, like, it's funny because, like you said, you really only get to see a couple of people depending on where you are in the building.
Right.
But we have over 200 people on staff.
Wow.
So there's quite a small army of us that are facilitating the casino, making sure that everything's up and running, making sure that promotions get executed. So we have, our dedicated team that's just for the restaurant. We obviously have our HR team, our accountants, our marketing team. So there is a small army of us that go into preparing and making sure that promotions internally are run well, and that we also get out and do those community activities too.
And marketing is the most important.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, definitely the most important part of the building, if anyone asks.
Over the years that you've been there, is there a moment, like memorable moment for you? Is there something that really stands out there? Like, is it like the launch of something new, or is like, I don't know, like someone that won big? Is there something that really stands out for you?
It's a tough one. I mean, I've seen so many things over the years. Yeah. Like there's, I've seen our gaming manager drive a car through the front doors for a giveaway once. I've seen a gentleman who actually, I think it was the same time, won that car. He jumped up on his chair and was cheering. I've seen tears of happiness, obviously. Yeah. I've seen a lot of excitement. So I think for me, the most recent exciting thing has been adding the poker room.
Right.
Because it's a whole different demographic of people. It's a beautiful space that we put a lot of time and effort into. And we started off with a charity poker tournament. So it's probably my favorite thing most recently. But sports betting with our new sportsbook lounge, I think is going to be, a good
up
next
there as
step.
Well.
Yeah.
Is there something that about Chances Casino that people might not know that they should? Is there anything you think, is there a misconception out there? Like one of the ones I came up, like I thought it was, like I said earlier, is that I think sports betting is like, a bunch of guys going. I'm like, it's not. Like there's girls' nights out and whatever, whatever, couples, like it doesn't have to be. But is there anything else that sort of comes to mind for you?
Well, another one you already touched on is the fact that we are independently owned and operated. So the Chances brand is one that you'll see throughout the province, right? There's other Chances in other areas, in other cities. But that is a naming mechanism. The actual properties themselves are owned by different corporations, different companies, different entities. And so one of the ones is that we are a locally owned and operated casino that really takes a community outlook on a lot of these things.
Yeah,
so that's one that comes across quite often is people will say, I was at Chance's Castlegar and this terrible thing happened to me. And I'm like, I'm really sorry that it's nothing to do with us, but we hope your experience here is substantially better. Yeah.
Interesting. So
nothing against Castlegar.
No,
just quickly.
You're going to get hate mail now.
Yeah.
Your tires will be slashed after this. But so looking ahead, we talked about Sportsbook. Is there anything new and exciting? Is there promotions going on we want to talk about? Is there anything else we want to highlight for people to know?
We always have promotions going on, so it's hard to pick just one. But essentially, as long as you're checking our social media and our website, we've always got something going on for patrons and players of all kinds to come in and enjoy. So every month there's something exciting happening. So I'm not going to point to any one of them, but if you can pick a stat holiday or if you can pick some kind of a thing, there's probably something going on at the casino.
Well, and even probably at night, like even restaurant specials and stuff.
Oh yeah, we've got our happy hour that runs in the afternoon. Our happy hour also is an evening one, so it also runs from 8 o'clock until close. We have it linked to our table games as well, so there's some fun progressives that you can win as part of our happy hour promotions. So there's a lot of different things we've got going on. Our lunch special is great. We get a lot of people coming over from the Landmark District here for our lunch specials in Long Shots Lounge. It's a $10 menu, so you can't see that very often these days.
No. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So the moral of the story here is that there's a lot going on at Chance.
There's a lot. There's almost too much, but we try to keep it all under wraps and make sure we've got everything going on for everyone that could possibly walk in the door.
So obviously we talked about the poker room, fairly new, and then our new sportsbook will be coming shortly. So that's the big thing that's happening. And I would encourage everyone just to go to chanceskelowna.ca, go on social media. You'll start seeing more about promotions on it as well, but stay up to date on it. So Clancy, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and I think when you're fully into sportsbook, we'll get you back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we can talk a little bit more.
The space a little bit more what we have going on there.
We should actually do it live from there. That'd be fun.
We absolutely could. There's going to be a 300-inch TV screen that gets into that room.
You say 300-inch?
I don't even know.
I'm moving in.
I can't even picture it yet, but it's going to be quite the nice little space. So yeah, absolutely. You're more than welcome to come check it out.
And during the day, just go watch like General Hospital or something on it.
Yeah, absolutely. By request, whatever you want to put on that TV. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'd love to get you back when we're sort of in the middle of Sportsbook to kind of get a discussion on how that's going.
For sure, absolutely.
So, thank you for coming. I appreciated chatting with you.
Thanks for having me.
And to everyone else, thank you for joining us. And again, thank you to ATB Wealth for sponsoring. And thanks for joining us, and see you next time. Thanks.